Hello together. Happy to be here in AI News number 7. Today I'm really proud that we have some guests. Our first guest to our AI News, Alex Bendersky. I see he's joining at the moment, so I will let him in and we see. Hi, Alex.
Hey
Nice to.
guys, nice to meet
Hello.
you. Hey,
We were
pleasure
just
to be here.
mentioning you.
Excellent. How are you guys
Yes.
doing?
We're
So
good.
we are live.
What about you? All good?
um, and
Excellent, excellent.
um,
Staying
Great.
nice and cold in the Midwest of
Oh,
United States.
well, likewise, also here. Michael is in Germany and I'm in North Italy. So, yeah, a little bit chilly.
Absolutely right. Like there's no cold weather, just underdressed people. So
Exactly.
that's right.
yeah, well,
So yeah, happy to have you here. We have some topics for today, and yeah, also you're in the health sector. So we also talk a little bit about AI and health. I think that's really interesting. My private interest is very big there, but yeah, perhaps Eugene, you just introduce
Absolutely.
Alex a little bit, and then we will start with the topics we have to.
Absolutely. Alex Bendersky, I'm pretty sure I got this right. It's our first guest for this first new year, actually, and is a leading expert in digital health and AI integration, revolutionizing patient care through innovative healthcare solutions. His work focuses on enhancing patient outcomes and operational efficiency by blending clinical expertise with cutting edge technology. Alex has successfully implemented value based care models, remote therapeutic monitor systems, and hybrid care delivery solutions. Notably, his leadership at Sparta Science and Luna Physical Therapy drove significant advancements in biomarker utilization and patient engagement. Currently, he advises Verity XR and SPRY, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correct, on product strategies and leads data driven initiatives at Rehab Think Tank, which I think you founded, right? Uh,
that's good.
Twice recognized as Clinician of the Year, and Alex is a forward thinking innovator in healthcare technology.
No, flattered. To hear the sound of my own name is flattering. So
Oh, wow.
thank you guys. Thank you.
Glad to have gotten that right.
So terrific to be here, and so great. I think it's just shows once again how united the world has become. Just as even an example, creating a digital front. We worked with a company out of Finland to use developers in Italy so that we can scale a product in South Africa. Right? It's just an
Amazing.
amazing universe that we're living in now, and how far we have gotten. So really enthusiastic. I'm really looking forward to this conversation today.
That's great. And we're very happy to have you here. And I think Michael had a very first question for you there.
Yes, yes. So we are about AI news. We will tell on later a little bit about videos and some news in the more overview sector. But especially for you in the health sector, what was yeah the last weeks or months the biggest AI news in your industry?
So there's been a lot actually. If you look into the United States AI initiative and health initiative, the United States government has decided just last week to sign a significant resource allocation into the AI infrastructure from the energy sector. So what's coming out is that we're understanding the peripherals of supporting this newly developed digital and AI ecosystem will require more than just development. It will require higher level of investment from the government and the general public. And so going forward, we really have to see this as a much larger point of development and the ecosystem, rather than like the primary focus to this point has been to see whether we can develop products and processes that are applicable in a clinical space. But very few of us understand and appreciate the larger uh, ecosystem of economic and financial investment into supporting this into something that will be viable for the next generation to come. So
Yeah.
that's yeah.
So yeah, that's something what is where I'm looking to 2 years and say, oh, there's happening much in that sector, and here in the EU we are more looking on regulations and no risk, where the US also does that, so it makes also sense. But yeah, it's also on the target how we can get the most out of it. Hopefully that happens more also in the EU, Germany and other countries here. But there's that it's the future. So if you don't invest in it, also from country and organization side, yeah, that's a topic.
Yeah, I think it's so important to provide assign the proper labels, right? And we, at least in a lay culture, tend to bucket everything into an AI domain, and we now I think are at the forefront where we start to discriminate what is AI, which specific AI, and how do we apply it. So AI becomes more of a overgeneralized, overarching label, and more specific labels are the ones that we really should have the greatest interest in.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So we have some topics. We will now switch a little bit the direction. But I'm also interested in your opinion to these things. We will start with Zora. It's not completely new, but it's now available also in the US, not in Germany. But yeah, that's also a thing. But yeah, also I'm. Let me just double check if I can find. Oh, here is it.
Mm-hmm.
No, the right window. Here's it. So also I'm based in Germany. There are ways to access it, and we have taken a look surely on that new launch. What I do in the most cases, I try to with other video services, I try to give some easy prompts. This one is just a cat running beside a horse in the city, just to see. It's something what didn't happen in the nature often, because a cat is running away from a horse in most cases. To check what the system can do, what it has not been trained on in a good way. That's so all this training data, and I think here it's again a little bit what we can see here. So here that's a cat, I would say, but the horse is a little bit, yeah, but can happen. But here we see again, and we see it's also in other video generating systems. This cat looks a little bit like a horse, because normally a horse runs beside a horse and not a cat runs beside a horse. And that are things, but I must say Zora does a great job. Lighting, all the details, the motion is great. We have seen not so good things in other video generation, but yeah, also the other will get better and better. So yeah, this is. But yeah, Zora is on the market since a year or so, or is not in public since a year, but the first videos were before a year. And it's interesting to see what it's looking now today. How can I stop that? How it's looking today. These video generation is one part. I'm not sure if it makes sense in the health sector to use such a technology. I'm not sure what things you can make there, but on the other side, also the video detection, like vision or something, and others are really based mostly on the same technology, are really important for your industry, I would say. So all what is video or image recognition is one of the big things.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think from the standpoint of video creation, I think in the future that there are ways of using educational content, and right now it's labor intensive and cost prohibitive feature. So only the wealthiest or the most financially secure companies can generate video content to explain and to educate. And with features like Sara, we have a vast potential of creating information and guides to mass public based on the feature, based on the prototype, or based on the functionality of some of these healthcare driven products. On a receiving side, I think computer vision has a vast untapped potential where there is a number of really that highly valued and validated startups in computer vision world that continue to maintain just a little bit more of a niche presence. We have to outline what is computer vision and what is AI good at, and that's pattern recognition and pattern detection. So computer vision applied to healthcare is a tool that can enhance human capacity to recognize these patterns. And the entry point, the price of entry, is been diminished to the point where it's essentially almost nothing to install a computer vision feature into your digital health application. Unfortunate truth, though, at least in the United States, is that the reception in the clinical community has been less than perfect. So even these products with computer feature integration, now computer vision is just not being utilized. Most patients tend to revert back to their two-dimensional models or to two-dimensional explainers, most likely because of comfort and prior experience, right? So the cardinal mistake with computer vision thus far has been not educating the consumer about the proper application of this technology. But definitely in the future, a better developed computer vision function can help both the diagnostic part of clinical care delivery, but also the prognostic part, where a computer vision can be trained to identify these failures or the shortcomings in performance, and can be applied in the industrial space, so to reduce injuries in this manual labor specific industries, but also in a clinical space, detecting features or motions that are unique to humans to reduce the likelihood of things happening like falls, right? Where we know that the economic burden of falls in the United States is something like $70 billion a year.
Wow.
And right now, we're only managing falls after they happen. So we don't do anything to prevent falls from happening. We just manage once people fall and the injuries that provide the sequelae from the fall. But using computer vision to really screen and identify these senior citizens and elderly, to look into these probabilities of higher likelihood of falls and intervening before the falls occur. So yeah, this is great, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a horse prancing with a cat in the future. So
So, yep.
So when you say two-dimensional, what do you mean? Do you mean like, are we talking about virtual reality here and other practices like that? For because I've seen in healthcare, maybe it's not related to what you were saying, but I've seen these recoveries with VR headsets, elders trying to move around with it. It's not maybe very AI related yet, but it's still, you can build these virtual realities with AI once that video really gets to the point where it's really high quality, and then maybe you can do anything with it. Is that what you
oh,
mean, virtual reality, pretty much? Or
yeah, I'm a big virtual reality like advocate, and I've applied it clinically. I think that there's an immense power of immersive technology. So virtual reality itself is just a method of delivering immersive technology to a human. So VR itself is a hardware, right? The hardware piece is less important than the process and the the complexity of the neurophysiology of being immersed into this world that is something that you want it to be. And it works on a very specific phenomena of the reality modeling that our central nervous system like organizes us to make sense of our immediate environment. And
right.
so that this sense making behavior is good until it starts to fall apart. and it usually falls apart in relationship to the injury, where our new reality becomes broken or suboptimal. And so we start living in this suboptimal world, and it becomes a negative feedback loop. So the more injured you are, the worse you feel. The worse you feel, the more injured you become. So one of the ways to break out of this trap of the suboptimal world is through this immersive experience, immersive technology. And you're absolutely right, Eugene. The getting a AI computer oriented world that is enhanced and idealized to what your world should be like, specific to you as an individual, right? And especially having an algorithm that designs a world specific to you based on your needs or based on your failure difficulties. It would be absolutely ideal, where it's not a static world that has been predetermined, pre-designed, but rather a dynamic world that adapts and adjusts to your immersion and immersive experience.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a big thing also to integrate AI in our daily life. So getting all these things connected to us directly, which leads me a little bit to the OpenAI AI tasks in ChatGPT. So they have announced it. It's a new feature. If you, this is from Mashable. Let's try that. So you can choose here for GPT-4o2 which scheduled tasks in the top. It's a beta, and it's another model here in that case. It's really easy to use. You just say, hey, remind me every day at 10 o'clock to drink water, as example. Don't know, or send me an update about the news so far. ChatGPT has some news. I can Google it or can Bing it or something like that. And he sets up such a reminder. So, but it's a feature again, and it's something which works in that way. But if I, as example, try remind me in 10 minutes to drink water. Let's see if it works. I get an error already here. It's a beta, it's fine, but at the end, that's this integration in our life. It's interesting, that feature again. So it tries to give a proactive feedback to me, but at the end, if I look under the hood, it looks just like a cron tab with a large language model in the front end. So they just connect some old technology on a really really old way with a new technology and say we have a new feature. And that's something where I'm a little bit disappointed. So if you take a look on the AI agent from Claude, that's a little bit more, where you can say, oh, do something from me in an environment, you can Google, etc. That's impressive. That here is interesting, and an interesting way to get that AI into our life. But I think we have a long way to go to get such things like you mentioned earlier, that fall detection or something. For that, AI must be around us and not only some sort of end device at the end where we can talk with. So yeah, that's a new feature from ChatGPT from OpenAI. But yeah, I'm not impressed. I don't know what you say, but it's
no harm in trying, right? I think if you look at the OpenAI roadmap, this is just part of their integration roadmap. They see their product being 5 levels of hierarchy, and this is level 3, where it's integration into your daily workflow. So creating a smart AI integration into your daily function, but still being controlled by you, and then two more steps up, and it becomes fully autonomous feature that doesn't anticipates you, doesn't really need your input to know that you should drink water at 10 a.m. and then 11 a.m. right? Like, and it will remind you without your presence or agency. So I guess it's here you still have agency in prompting the technology. It's also probably an example of how technology tries to fit into antiquated systems until the systems adopt. Like, there's an adoption curve, and the adoption has an element of time. And while the time takes its precedence, these systems need to work with the available models. And available models are such where, like, we have these poorly operable or poorly integrated features that don't play well with each other. And so OpenAI will try to get into these features so that it plays well with them. As an example, it's like when the cars came in the market, people refused to get into cars. So they used to put fake horses' heads in front of these vehicles so that people would be less apprehensive, until finally you don't see the horses' heads right now. Cars are cars, right? So the next step is that the self-driving vehicles, people refuse to get into the self-driving vehicles unless they have a steering wheel, even though, right? So they have these fake steering wheels that don't control anything, but people still feel like they're in control. Maybe this is an open AI way of giving people an illusion of control of their daily features until this illusion of control is taken away, and technology just controls your daily operations. So yeah.
Interesting and a little bit dark as well, but I mean, it's kind of that Newton's law kind of thing, where to every action there's an equal opposite reaction. We will get this abundant world where everything is happening around us, and better maybe economy, etc. But we don't know the counter effects yet, and hopefully they are not tragic whatsoever. But when we discuss the benefits, right? We have a news. We were just going through this article yesterday, where actually coming out of Germany, the article says AI boosts breast cancer detection rates while cutting radiologist workload. Right, and I went a little bit through that, and it's these recent studies have shown that AI integration into mammography screening can significantly increase the detection rate of breast cancer, while simultaneously reducing the workload. But marks a significant step forward in medical technology. It promises to enhance the accuracy of screening by identifying that might be missed in traditional reviews, right? Potentially catching the disease at earlier, more treatable stages. However, there are considerations to keep in mind, right? Like accuracy and reliability, and ethical concerns, and workload reduction, adoption and costs, patient trust, many things. So what do you guys think?
It's wonderful, because I think the human plus AI is better than human alone and better than AI alone. There was actually an interesting paper from one of the medical journals from a couple of months ago that looked into that clinical performance and diagnostic performance of that, like the three separate models. The first model was human alone, second model was AI alone, and the third model was human plus AI. And they mapped this, so they tracked these over multiple months, and they found that initially AI performed better than the human. When the AI and human work together, they perform better than AI, but only short term, because long term, AI once again started outperforming a human, because part of the human heuristic, part of our psychology, is to question technology and question the data that it comes in. So a human, after a month of using AI, rather than following the suggestions, started reverting or questioning these suggestions, which reduced the diagnostic efficacy. So the biggest element here is trust, right? So I think it's not a question that AI can detect some of these anomalies better than a human, but the AI can also detect, have a lot of false positives potentially, where it detects what it perceives as an anomaly because it's trained on a data set that a trained clinician, a trained radiologist can discriminate against, because he or she may have better human understanding. There's also a process of complexity and contextual factors that a physician or a clinician understands complexity and contextual factors better than technology. Technology thinks and sees things as it has been trained without any outliers. So I think it's a wonderful potential future application of AI in healthcare, only under the constraints that humans start to learn and trust technology, but humans also provide continuous feedback in these models rather than AI taking over and only providing information.
Makes sense. And the questioning should always be present, I think, right? I mean, it's part of our dialectic, Hegel dialectic, where the hypothesis and antithesis always should met to get to a higher level of truth, right?
Yeah.
Which AI kind of, as you said, based on the training model, doesn't really take into consideration.
Yeah, AI doesn't have truth, right? Like AI, like there's no point of truth. AI only has retrospective knowledge. It does not have prospective knowledge. Like it's impossible for any computer system to be trained in a prospective knowledge unless we train it to BS us, and then it just becomes a hallucination, right? That's not really a knowledge. So
yeah, I think, and I also think it's wonderful that such technology can help us to get healthier, to live longer. We are now in the beginning of all these, and the big question for me is if I will profit, or my wife, or somewhere in my nearest will profit from such technology in the next 10 years, because I see it in the AI in the normal industry. So all is talking about AI, all is doing AI, but the use cases are really small, and it's hard to implement processes, etc., to use it. And I see, especially in that healthcare sector, I see the time is wending by and not much will happening in my eyes in the next few years, because of regulations, because of if my radiologist at the corner around there, he must become aware of that. He must say, okay, I get in touch with the technology I have fear before, or something like that, or I don't trust it, or until these persons join such technologies, I think there will be much years go by. But perhaps I'm a little bit too pessimistic here. Don't know what you would say here.
I would think that it depends on the type and depends on the application, but in 2025, probably 50% of your daily function is technology supported or technology enhanced or technology driven. So we are technology, but the point of reference is if you had to guess who was the first cyborg, who was the first human to use technology to extend his or her ability, right? What do you guys think? How long do we have to go back to use that human who used technology? 1950s, 1930s, maybe 1920s, right?
When we started listening to radio, I guess already, if you think about it, right?
But if you think so exactly, right? So we continue to reference that's the availability heuristic. So we use available information. So you think radio, maybe using electrodes, using telephones, or photography, right? The first human who became a cyborg was a sapien 100,000 years ago. They used a rock to crack a nut, right? Because your fist will break, it will not crack a nut. You will break your fist before the nut breaks. But if you pick up a heavy object and you smash a nut, you extended your ability. So you have natural limitations as a soft-shelled human. And then when you extend your ability, you become a cyborg. You start using technology. So rock is just a point of rudimentary technology, and AI is a point of future-oriented technology. But I think it's at every point of our life, we will benefit from it, and we're already benefiting from it, with some constraints, with some limitations, and I'm sure with some potential shortcomings as well. And given I'm a little bit more of an optimist, right? I think that I see the greater good versus the greater evil. But there is an immense opportunity, because we're not looking into it from the future sense. We're living it, like we're in it right now. So we're talking across two different continents through a available ecosystem, while being able to see each other and share information through a computer. Right? Think of, like, what would it be if you told this was available information to your grandparents? They would think it's like impossible, right? So
An incredible time to be alive, indeed.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right, and I would say it's also a good word for the for the end of our AI news this week. It's already 30 minutes went through so fast every
Oh,
time.
wow.
This time much more fast because of you, Alex. It was great, and it's was great to have you here. Thank you very much to take the time to join us and to give us a little bit insights. And yeah, happy to.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
It was
Jesse.
a great conversation.
Yeah, pleasure. I really appreciate this. It was great. So
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great time. Bye.
Bye.